Hi, this is Shane Starr, and today we're going to come about as close as we can to me being funny. Um, I'm not exactly a barrel of laughs, but hopefully some of you get some joy out of this video. We are going to look at the various ways in which each Enneagram type misbehaves at church. So there's 9 types, 9 distinct ways of misbehaving, and without further delay, let's get started. So Enneagram number 1's. Um, our sin is resentment. And oftentimes it's called anger, but I think it's more of that slow burn, ongoing, low level anger, which focuses on misgivings and just things that annoy you and frustrate you. And what this looks like at church is you're coming in and you're looking at the people and you're just judging people. Look at those people. Look, how could they dress like that? This is church, not a party. Or this is church, not your living room on your day off. Little behaviors like people smelling too strong, talking too loud, being overly happy or overly sad or overly demonstrative. Just every little thing can get on your nerves as a 1. You can look at people who you haven't seen in a long time saying, oh, I wonder what they've been doing, are they just here because someone made them come, or do they really believe, that can be a problem. You can even be critical of the church itself, like, oh, they changed the music. These new people aren't as good as the ones that came before them. I don't like that person's voice. That person's wearing a Slayer shirt who's on the drums, and that's sacrilegious. They shouldn't be doing that. Just complaining about everything, even the homilies of the priest. You can be critical of it, like, well, it was overall good today, except I don't really like what he said about this or that. To me, that was a little bit getting on the political side, and we should keep that out of faith-centered church services. So that's what it looks like being a 1. And as I've said before in other videos, I know something about that. So that's how 1s misbehave at church, judging people, putting people down for a variety of reasons. Let's move on to 2. The 2's sin is pride. And it's funny because they're the most giving type, but it's like brag giving, like shades of 3 there. So the 2's, they stroll into church like they're the most important people there sometimes. And it's like, well, I gave this much, I volunteered for this. I put on this, church activity over here. I raised money for the carnival. I helped get this thing set up. I brought all the food and the cupcakes and everything else. I wonder what all these other people are doing. They're not helping as much as me. It's that kind of comparative activity that they think they're the best, and then it comes down to every church service, Catholic or non-Catholic, has their announcements, and the 2's, it's like, I wonder if they'll mention me because I gave so much last week, or will they mention my volunteer work with the homeless, or this or that. And it's like, settle down, like as Jesus says, your reward's in heaven. You don't need to make a big show of how great you are and how much you helped everyone out here. And so that's what 2's misbehaving in church look like. Okay, number 3, their sin is deceit. And that is usually a game of one-upsmanship. So they stroll in thinking, my car's the best. Oh, that guy got a new car, but that engine I know isn't as good as mine. My clothes look better than theirs. My girlfriend's prettier than that guy's new girlfriend. I wonder who here makes as much money as me. They can, they're most likely to lie in the in the like small talk before and after church. Oh, what have you been up to? Oh, well, we sold 3 buildings here. We're doing this and that, but the governor, he doesn't understand, and just talking it up, acting like the big shot, like the cool guy, like everything's going great for him. Like even if it's not, they won't let anyone know that. They have to put on the show and make everyone like look like they're the best, like, oh, you got to admire me. I have it all together. I'm on top of everything. Look at me, everyone. I'm what you should strive to be, that whole kind of thing, the bragger. And yes, we have those at church too. So that's what the 3 sins look like. Number 4, Enneagram 4 sin is envy, and this comes out jealousy. They see everyone talking before church, and even though a lot of these people would like to talk to them too, they kind of turn off to the other people, but then feel hurt that they're not being talked to, even though they're the ones kind of being antisocial. Then they sit and look at all the happy people and think, what are they so happy about? Like, what do they have that I'm missing? Like, oh, that couple over there giggling, like, wait till they find out who he really is, and all that kind of thing. They can be really jealous. They're probably they're just the most likely to kind of be bitter, and maybe they're playing this in the back of their mind, like, I don't even know if I should keep coming here. Maybe I should switch churches. Maybe church isn't for me after all. And I think that's what 4's misbehaving at church looks like. Instead of celebrating God and trying to build your relationship with God, they're just looking at everything that's missing, everything that's wrong, everything that's making them unhappy. So that's what misbehaving for 4 looks like. Enneagram 5. Now, their sin is avarice. That's like selfishness, but I think it comes out in terms of knowledge. I think the know-it-all, the quiet, cool, know-it-all type tends to be a 5. So these people go to church, maybe unsure of their faith or beliefs. They're just there because for whatever reason, maybe their spouse or girlfriend or family, or maybe they believe, but they tend to, in one fashion, they might be critical of a lot of things, but it has to do with knowledge. Like, oh, the priest mentioned this, but I think he got his dates wrong, or that wasn't the Council of Trent, that was the Council of Nicaea he was talking about. He messed that up. He said he was in Europe last summer, but I saw him here last summer. Is he exaggerating, or is he, did he mess up there? Or seeing other people kneel or stand up at the wrong time, or miss a note, or maybe the music's off a little bit. That can be what 5's misbehaving at church looks like. They turn it into some intellectual challenge or exercise, forgetting that the whole meaning of worship and what it is supposed to mean to go to church. Moving on to Enneagram 6, their sin is anxiety. And when it comes to church especially, or work, I think 6's and anxiety comes down to group dynamics. So the 6 pulls up to church. They see the people engaging in small talk, before mass or service starts. And it's like, oh, who's in the in crowd? Like, the priest like barely looked my way, but he's like all talking friendly to them. Like, was there like a activity that I missed or something? Or is someone mad at me? Like, why is no one really, talking to me? Well, so-and-so talked to me, but it just wasn't the same, like how did they get in that in group? Like, they used to be on the side, and now this person's like all like this chummy with the priests. How did that work? Like, how could I be a part of that greater whole and feel more like I belong instead of sort of like an outsider? I think that kind of anxiety in and of itself is sinful, and there's a number of reasons why. Part of faith itself is having faith that where your faith ends, God can meet you. And I think sixes have a hard time with this. Their doubt hurts them more than any other type, probably. So whether it's group dynamics or faith itself, that's what misbehaving at church looks like for a six. All right, number 7. This one's going to be easy. Their sin is gluttony. Comes out in the form of fun. This is the most type that misbehaving just looks like general, typical misbehaving. They're going to be joking around, laughing, not really paying attention, maybe going through their phones, scrolling on Instagram, just looking at, how can I make this boring thing a good time? Again, missing the whole point that they're supposed to be there for, which is, worship. They're just engaging in everyday misbehavior. Extremes might be wrinkling a ball of paper and throwing it at someone and then like joking around at a serious moment. I think, again, all of these, and this goes for sevens too, they don't have to be misbehaving. I'm just saying when they do misbehave, this is what it's going to look like. So that's a 7 misbehaving at church, just messing around, doing bad stuff that they shouldn't be doing. All right, number 8. Now, this can go in one of two ways, and I think I'll speak from experience. My experience with 8s misbehaving at church, it might not be misbehaving, but it just gets on my nerves. The 8s are the guys who come in all, like they sit down. They're like, you could feel their breath on the back of your head. They like stick out their elbows. They're just, you feel like all crunched up, and then they say the prayers super loud and like real fast first, and it's like, dude, mellow out a little bit, like so like manly and intense and just playing the part of the big, daddy dom, I'm here, I'm the main, leader here, like that kind of thing. I have experienced that. It's always bad if they have a cough or they're clearing their throat. Like if I have to sneeze, I like hold it in so like you can't hear it. They'll like do the big, choo, like the whole church is like going, like what happened over here. And then at the other end of the spectrum, if you have the younger kind of crazy 8, they'll just be at church staring at the girl or guy they want to get with, and that's a whole different kind of misbehaving there, but that exists as well. So maybe in the whole life cycle of an 8, in their teenage and college years, they're more like that later type. Then when they, grow up and get married and have a family, then they turn into the big, domineering type. But again, it's that sin of lust, which can come out as desire, or a lust for power, which plays itself out in the way I described. So that's what 8s look like. Okay, now we come to the last one, 9s. And this one's real easy. The biggest misbehavior of a 9 in church is not showing up. They just won't go. Their sin is sloth, which I know it's not technically laziness, but to me it's laziness. And that dog is annoying me so much downstairs. Anyway, I'm going to finish this up anyway. So the main thing here with 9s, if they do show up and they're misbehaving, it's just going to be going through the motions. They're not going to dress up for the church. They're not going to really talk to anyone. They're just going to kind of just sit there. Like if they're a kid who's a 9, they're just going to be like, no involvement, no emotion, just zombie-like, just, chill, not misbehaving, but not engaging on any big level either. And I don't think that's good. So there you have it. 9 distinct Enneagram types, all misbehaving at church. It'd be something to have one of each of these all in the same service or mass. That'd be funny, but maybe it's the wrong place for that. All right, that's all I got for today. Thanks. Have a good one. I'm out.